We're live.
We're on. So we're live. I am in the UK from pretend Sydney, Australia, and you're actually in Australia. Welcome, Andrew.
Welcome, Mark. What a great opportunity. Yes, from Sydney, right next to our winning AO in Melbourne.
Right. So today's topic, as we have the winning lens focused on Australian Open, today's topic is how do you actually break free from the army of people desperate to get into the top 100 and thereby get an invite straight into the Grand Slam, and that pays, even the first round pays for your expenses for the year. So it's the same for amateurs, and Andrew and I coach around the world, and it is common, very common, that you get to a certain level of play and then you play with and against the same people for years and decades. Andrew, that's fair, isn't it?
That is very fair. Club tennis works that way. Tournament tennis might be a little bit different, but very close.
And I can remember playing people in my 20s and in my 50s. We were still playing this and we're going, what? So this is what this topic is about, is how do you train to break free from your peer group and get into the next peer group, and then train and get into the next peer group. And clearly, if you train or practice the way you've always done, the way that everybody else practices and trains, you're going to get the same results and stick with the same crew for years and years. Talk about Alex de Minaur, if you would, Andrew, because he had
a great match.
Years and years and years. You know, he's not big enough serve, and not this and not that, and has broken into the top 10.
Yes, he's broken into the top 10. He has his special skills, which is his court speed, his tactics, and just forcing them to play one more shot is a very nice sort of thing. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't, but just pushing the pressure up. Probably a key thing is what you're suggesting about becoming stronger. If you can always find stronger players, they will pull you up, and you can play with your peer group, but always look for that chance to play someone stronger or someone different. That's always good. Okay.
And let's just throw the spotlight on Sir Andy Murray for a second, who, you know, this may or may not be his last Australian Open. But way back when he was trying to become somebody in the UK in Tim Henman's era, he was thought by many people they wouldn't make it, that he was too weak, too thin, too scrawny, his ankles broke down, and that he would never make it as a pro, never mind somebody that's won Wimbledon and the Olympics. So he went on a training regime and broke free from the English system and trained in Spain. And then he did pre-season grueling training with his strength and conditioning coach in Australia, and got himself stronger and bigger, and then became a pro, and then worked his way up to become a top pro. And then he in turn got stuck with the legends like Federer, Nadal and Federer and top four. So would get to the semis, occasionally to the finals, and would lose. People stupidly called him a choker and not good enough without realizing how amazing it is to get into the top four. And then he espied Lendl, and Lendl brought an extra ingredient to him, which enabled him on occasions to break free from top four to get into top one. Yeah. So the lesson is all there. Have you put you on the spot, Andrew? Have you had club players that for years and decades played the same people and then had different training and then carried on?
Yes, I have. And a lot of the time, club players might have a mental block about someone. I can't beat this person. And one of the key things is you listen to yourself the most. So we have to change that mindset. We have to say, yes, this person is capable. And over the years, the top players sometimes say they're unstoppable. But if you're going out on court thinking that, you'll probably continue with their feelings. You've got to set your own goal. Back on Andy Murray. Andy Murray also came from an amazing background. So Judy Murray, a coach, Jamie Murray. So it's not just those things. So the team, the family, the opportunities, that is what makes a champion. You can look that back with Nadal and Djokovic and Federer. It's very family orientated, especially when you have to travel a lot.
Yeah. So just having left you with the idea that you don't need to get stuck at a certain level and play that level for the next years and decades with and against the same people you've always done, just to set that it's possible, we have a treat for you today, which is we have interviewed Vlado Platinic. And you're going to go, who's Vlado Platinic? Arguably, probably not even arguably, the world's leading Grand Slam development coach, i.e. he specializes in taking ladies, top 400, top 300, top 200, and train them in 2 or 3 years to break into the top 100 and get an automatic invitation to a Grand Slam. And then upwards to the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, and the 20s. So we're going to hear from Vlado how he does it. It's in his Melbourne hotel room where he's taking his latest charge, Lulu Sun, that he started training with 6 months ago. And she's gone from late 200s into the qualies. And I will check today whether she's got through qualifiers and got into the main draw. So we have an interview with Vlado, mainly about Lulu Sun and the upcoming qualification and Grand Slam, which is followed by training video that we did also with Vlado at winning Wimbledon. So between all those, you will have the ingredients that you can put into play tomorrow and start breaking free. Get into your own top 100, get into your own Grand Slam, and carry on improving. So the future on the tennis court shifts from being very predictable into highly desirable. Andrew, anything else before we press go?
Yes, look, a few key things. So Iga Swiatek won her first round, so number 1 in the world. So she's on her way to start the tournament quite well. You had Garcia beat Osaka in the women's. All right, so Osaka coming back from having a little one and probably out first round, but we saw Garcia during the United Cup playing very well. Demonor had a great match against Raonic. He was holding his own. He was having trouble with the serve, the fast serve, but won the second set. But in the third, Raonic retired. Tsitsipas had a bit of an earlier shock, but then the mindset of these players is they find their rhythm and then got back into it. Gauff going quite well. We've got a few Aussies. So go the Aussies. We've got a few Aussies making their way into the next round. So, and Popperin, he's got to play Djokovic next. So that's a hard match. But this is the mindset. That's an obstacle that you can win, and you go in that way. Otherwise, you know, it makes it too hard, the match. So we talk about different things.
And finish off, if you would, having broken into the Grand Slam as an invitation or qualifying, which is a massive achievement.
Yes.
How do you get through the first round, second round? How do you get through the first week into the second week when we sort out the pretenders from the possibles? And then how do you go deep in the second week? Because each one of those represents a breakthrough to another level, yeah?
Yeah, the new players, coaches like myself are analysing these new players just in case they play one of the top players, so that we can come up with strategies, counter strategies. With the top players, they nearly know each other's games, and some of them are even tuning their game to be, even though they're number one, they're even tuning more and more to add more extras in their game. So if you're new, sometimes you could knock out a top player. It all comes down to research, and your team would be researching. They would be on watching the court, who you're going to play. And I can tell you now, Djokovic has got a team watching Popyrin play and working out tactics about it. So that's how they do it.
Yeah, but it takes something to go through the first week and break into the second, and then go through the second, quarters, semis. You know, it takes, I just want everybody to realize it really takes something, and every round is really a new level. So
yes. Look, the endurance, what you were talking about, that endurance is important. If you have a walkover or a retired match and you get an easier match, you rest up a little bit, ready for the next match. All right. So it's a 2-week training agreement that you're up and trying to recover. So the really good ones are probably not partying. It's business, and they're getting ready. They're in, cycling down after they've ridden, so they're ready for the next day.
Right, fantastic. So with inspiration to competitive amateur tennis players around the world, that you don't need to, people say I've been playing tennis for 20, 30 years. The probability is you've been playing tennis and then you carried on playing that same way for 20 or 30 years. So you haven't been playing tennis and reinventing and improving, you've just been stuck. So with that, over to the interview with Vlado Platinic to do with Ludo's son, and then some training that we did earlier at Wimbledon.
Thanks again. Bye from Sydney, and see you tomorrow.
Vlado, I was going to say good morning to you. It's good morning from the UK, and it's good evening to you in Melbourne.
Yes. Hello.
The last time I interviewed you, you were in a hotel in Melbourne, stuck because of COVID, remember?
Yes, I remember.
And then you spent 2 years not on the tour.
Yeah.
And now you're back. You're addicted to the tour. So what's the reason for being on the tour?
Well, I had a little break from the tour because of the family. My daughter, she was going to play for the university in US, for the University of Maryland, and so I was taking a little time off the tour. Right now I'm back on the tour because I was asked to coach a girl, which actually also she just finished her studies in US. She was at the University of Texas, and now she wants to proceed with her professional career in tennis.
And so for those that don't know, Vlado Platinic is probably the world's leading Grand Slam development coach, having taken a handful of ladies with no ranking points and no cash into the top 100 and beyond, and with healthy bank balances. So you're obviously addicted to being on the tour. Who is this lady, and what's her chances, and what have you done so far?
So yes, we started in November with the preseason preparation. Her name is Lulu San. She plays for Switzerland, but she was born in New Zealand. Her family is Chinese, so for the moment we had a good preseason. We did a lot of work, a lot of hard work. I'm lucky to work with her, having a very good team, including the fitness coach and a hitting partner. So we did 3 weeks in Europe, mostly doing a lot of fitness preparation. We went for 1 week into the Slovak mountains to do a lot of running there in the in the snow, in a hard condition, in the hills. So it was very tough. And then we did a tennis preparation in Florida, in Boca Raton, in my friend's academy. So we really did a maximum in those 6 weeks. I think the work paid off, because the first tournament she played was in Auckland. She was in the qualifying, and she won the qualifying and won one round in the main draw. So it's I would say it's a success, because obviously, being out of top 200, she was ranked, I think, 215, 217 before the tournament. Playing all the, top 200 players in the qualifying or in the main draw. So she did well. It was, good tournament to learn. In the second round, she lost to top 40 player Varvara Gracheva. Playing on the center court was a little bit, I think, too much pressure for her, which is normal, which I went through with all of my players. Mentally, they're not prepared, to just go play the big tournaments, go on the big court, and this is part of the learning, not only hitting balls or doing the fitness, but also mentally getting ready for this situation where you're moving from court, a small court to the big court, with the stadium was full, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation, so these are the things that you cannot jump over this, and you have to have these experiences, and then we have to discuss and watch the videos and see what was happening in those matches, and the girls are getting more experience, and when the situation repeats, then they're already a little bit smarter, a little bit less nervous, and that's how it is. You have to develop step by step.
Interesting, the life of a Grand Slam development coach. And you're in qualifying at Melbourne. You're not in the main draw.
Yeah, now we are in Melbourne now and preparing for the qualifying. Obviously, she is in the qualifying now, and actually she's playing against the British player Heather Watson. Heather was many years in top 100. Is experienced player, and you see, now she's out of top 100 and she needs to go through the qualifying. So yes, we are preparing, and like I said, the preparation is more or less it's done, because we did the good preseason, and now it's only about a little bit tuning the shots, and trying to be mentally ready for the match.
So what ranking does she need to be to qualify for the qualies?
Well, I think you have to be around 220, 225 in the world. But now, already after the first tournament, the ranking of Lulu will rise to around 180, 190. So she already improved probably like 30 spots. And like I said, in the big tournaments, if you are able to win matches, and if you're able to keep the level, the points are coming a little bit faster, because that's the big difference. When you play the small tournaments, you're probably getting like 10 points, maybe 8 points winning one match, and on the WTA tour in a 250,000, you are getting 30 points winning one round. So obviously the level is a little bit higher, but to make points is a little bit easier, because the points are much higher than in the Challenger Tour.
Yeah. So obviously the aim is to get into the top 100, and hence an invitation into the Grand Slams. What has she got to do, in your opinion, to go from around about 180 to less than 100?
Yeah, well, like I said, we improved a lot the fitness. That's the easiest part, because there is not so much mental toughness involved, because the problem with the players, with tennis players, is that obviously when they miss a shot they get very upset, and that's kind of it's in the way of improvement, because a lot of players, a lot of girls, they get frustrated when they start to make mistakes. In the fitness, it's more about just having a will to work hard. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So for me, when I start with the players, I really focus first on the fitness, because it makes them stronger physically, and then they can practice longer, and they are not getting tired as quickly, and it's a big part of being also mentally stronger. And now the next part is obviously improving the technical part, or tactical part of tennis, and improving the mental toughness regarding being strong when losing, or when not feeling well, or when the match is not going your way. This is very important, that they understand that they shouldn't give up, and they need to find the way how to win the match.
Okay. So let's say everybody is of the same sort of fitness level. I suspect that's not quite right too, because I would imagine many people on tour are carrying injuries and are niggling and not 100% right. What about technique and the mental side?
Yes, like you said, it's very important, to be physically ready, and it's very, very, very difficult for many players, which are ranked outside top 100, to actually pay for the whole team, to pay the fitness coach and tennis coach and so on. So this is something that I really recommend to players or parents, to really invest in this beginning, let's say, phase. Even you are not top 100, but it's very important to have these people around you, and good people, I would say, like experts in every field.
Because
And
it's
then
the foundation, yeah, just to cut across you, it's the foundation.
yeah, exactly. And then the technical part, obviously, that's something that I need to do. That's what I'm good at. And obviously I'm working as much as possible, to adjust to the player, kind of, because every player is different. One player is more defensive, the other player is more offensive kind of player. So I'm trying to adjust always, to the player, and try to have a plan for every player, the right plan. But also, many times, for example, today I was watching match with Sabalenka and Rybakina, and obviously Sabalenka was absolutely not ready to change the plan, and that's why she lost. So it's very important to build the game, build your weapons, but also try to have more variety in your game. So if your plan A is not working, to find a solution how to beat the opponent with your B plan or B game. So this is very important, and it was always successful. Even it's a little bit more difficult, because, like I said, a lot of players, they just don't want to go out of the comfort zone. They like to do things that they like. They don't like to work on the things that maybe they are a little bit more difficult for them, or they are not exactly their kind of game. But there is enough time. There is enough time in the preseason, or enough time between the tournaments to work on many things. And like I said, I like very much the job of the coach of Rybakina, because you can see she's coming in. She improved her volleys, she improved her fitness, so she's getting more variety in her game, and also more weapons. So it's all about also the willingness of the player to learn, and it's also about many times about the patience of the parents, because obviously the parents are paying for everything when the player is out of top 100, or the sponsors. So many things have to come together to really develop the player.
Yeah. And lastly then, what's her potential? What do you think?
Excuse me, I didn't hear.
What do you think her potential is?
Well, Lulu is very talented. She was a good junior. She's a lefty. which is a big big plus. The lefties, they always have a little bit advantage, and I like I said, I try to build her weapons. I have seen that she has quite a powerful game, so we work a lot on the serve, which paid off. And for example, in the first 2 matches of the year, she served 19 aces, which is not very usual in women tennis, let's say. And then obviously she has a very powerful forehand, so she's making a lot of pressure. We work a lot on the return, so like I said, she's more the aggressive type of player, and we worked on the first 2 shots, 3 shots, where she can really start to dictate. And I also see this is a problem that a lot of players, a lot of even amateur players, they work on their serve or return at the end of the practice, and you need to pay attention to these things, because every rally starts with the serve and return. So I think even it's not exactly your kind of game, but it's worth to work on your return and on your serve as a one kind of practice, not just at the end of the practice. And this paid off. Lulu was really returning well and serving well, and she was getting a lot of let's say free points, or she was creating pressure from the first shot, and then the options opened for her, because she was doing very well on the first shot. So this is the first thing. And obviously I don't like to talk about potential, because I don't want to create any pressure for the player, any pressure for myself. Obviously, the first goal is to come close to top 100 or enter top 100 this year, or by the end of this year, and then hopefully making another good preseason, and improving from one tournament to another, because I really think that when you lose and you learn out of the match, then this is the only improvement possible, because nobody was born perfect. Nobody can play perfect, and you just can improve from experience. Sometimes the experience is painful, but that's what I think it's necessary sometimes. To learn, you have to lose.
Yeah. So what you said so far, just relating it to competitive amateur tennis players, it's the same stuff. There's nothing that the pros do that the amateurs shouldn't do. It's about getting your foundational fitness right. It's about focusing on your first serve, return of serve, and your next shot, i.e. the rallies with 4 shots or less. It's about improving your mental and emotional state and working on that. And lastly, it's about the process and not the outcome, which you brilliantly talked through. What's Layla's like in doubles? Because that's, I imagine she's playing doubles as well as singles.
Yes, we were lucky. She was able to play doubles in New Zealand. So for me, doubles it's a very good practice. It's very good practice for young players. It's a good practice for amateurs. Because in doubles, you don't have too many options, but also you have to direct the ball very accurate, because if you don't control your return, obviously the player on the net is going to kill you straight away from the second shot. So you kind of improve your return, especially like the cross-court return, and then it's a little bit faster game. You have to react faster. You improve your volleys, you improve your reaction. You can work a lot on your serve, because in doubles you can be a little bit more aggressive on the serve. So yeah, I mean, it's a team sport. It's fun. It's not so much pressure. So many times, even players who are let's say a little bit nervous in singles, it helps them to relax a little bit in doubles, and then they can take this experience from doubles to singles. You know what I mean? So because it's not so much pressure. Doubles, most of the singles players, they are not taking doubles as seriously as singles. So that's why I like it, and it's a good practice for the singles.
Lovely. Last question. Are we likely to see Lulu in the French Open? Is that too early?
Of course. No, it's for sure. For sure, we are working very hard. It's no pressure, but obviously now she's 180, around 180 in the world. She needs around 300 points to enter top 100. So obviously, we are trying to get as close as possible for the main draw, and already now 100% she will be in the qualies, because she's top 200 ranking. She's not losing any points until Roland Garros or Wimbledon. So for sure, the goal is to play both Grand Slam in Europe.
Vlado, thank you. This links so well with our previous discussion about what does it take to break out of your peer group and break into the next level. So there's an army of people, with an army of people wanting to join the army of people, and out of that you need to break into the top 100 and then go deeper. So this is fantastic, a great insight into what needs to happen. And every single thing that you talked about, all the skills and all the processes, are exactly for amateurs to break out of their peer group that they might have been playing with for years or even decades to get to the next level.
Yeah, I just had this discussion with Lulu a couple of days ago, especially after the match with Gracheva. And, during the practices, sometimes the players, even amateurs, even kids, they put too much pressure on themselves during the practice. And I told her, you have to be like a visionary. If you have let's say you have a business plan, or you have dreams in your life to achieve something, you have to be a visionary. So if you are looking in the practice, that you missed the shot, it's not the right thinking, because the goal in the practice should be, like you should go above your level. And I said to Lulu, in practice, if you are not giving full intensity, and you are not trying to go for the targets and for the little bit of, let's say, more risky second serve, or more deeper return, or just like exaggerating kind of, then you are not the visionary. You are just you are stuck in one place. The same with fitness. For example, now Lulu, she started to work with the fitness coach, and then we came here on Friday to Melbourne, and we had actually like only one day possibility to push a little bit in the gym. And she was a little bit surprised, and I told her, you see, this is the difference, because you were not used to go to tournaments with the fitness coach and not even work too much with the fitness coach. So now the work that is done here, in fitness, it may seem difficult for you, but believe me, for the top players like Sabalenka or Rybakina, or the top players, Swiatek, this fitness work is just a routine work. You know what I mean? So this is what it is. Like, they need to have the information and the explanation that even sometimes you feel like it's not easy, or it's not let's say the way you would do things, but you are doing those things for the future, because you need to see what's gonna be in 1 or 2 years. It's not about what's going to be tomorrow. You know what I mean?
And you're training your brain and your identity at the same time.
Yes. So you have to, in the practices, you have to exaggerate. It's better to play deep and more to the lines. You can always go back and slow down and put the ball inside the court, but in the practice you just have to go a little bit above the limits and search for your limits. And obviously, when you will search for your limits, you will make more mistakes, but that's why it's called practice, because that's where you can practice these shots. And if you make a mistake, you can always adjust, and you get the second chance and third chance. And then after 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, your game is improving. But if you are not going above your limit in the fitness, on the court, and so on, you will never improve. You will be stuck in one place.
Vlado, we were going to have 10 minutes. I love our conversations. It's been about 20. I could probably chat to you for another hour or so, but let me let you go. Best of luck to you and Lulu. We will follow your progress. Wishing you every success, man.
Thank you.
And somehow, somewhere, you need counselling to stop going on the tour and spending 11 months of the year journeying from place to place, hotel to hotel.
Yeah, that's the professional tennis job, you know what I mean? So for the moment, I am enjoying it. And, as long as I find people who are, wanting or searching for my help, I'm trying to help.
Do you ever play in the plus 35s in the Grand Slams?
No.
Because you're a professional coach looking after your player.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Vlado, thank you very much, man. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay, Mark, all the best.
All right, welcome everyone to the Winning Wimbledon live broadcast. My name is Ramon Osa, and I'm here with my partner, Mark Jeffery. Mark, who played on Wimbledon, actually, Army tennis champion. And we're going to have a very special guest for you guys today. His name is Vlado Platinik, who is probably the world's foremost Grand Slam development coach. And he's taken multiple women from relative obscurity into the top 100, top 50, and top 20. And so he's going to have some really great insights for you guys. Mark, how you doing today?
Ramon, absolutely great. Thank you. And what a great way to kick off our channel, because it is the key question. How do you qualify for the main draw of Wimbledon? How do you qualify for the qualifying? And how do you win through to qualifying to get on the main draw? Or how do you get a pick because you're in the top 100? And that's what Vlado will be talking about. That's what we'll be grilling him about. And the lessons are for all of us that if we've been in with the pack at our level for year after year, decade after decade, what does it take? And Raquel's just learning this too. What does it take to break out of the pack and get into a new pack? Tell me about Raquel.
Yeah, so my wife, you guys, for you that don't know, she picked up tennis relatively late, and now she is USTA playing every weekend, it seems like, and served up a nice double bagel yesterday to her opponents. And on the drive home, I said, did you get that juice and those butterflies that you have right before an important match? Because it was the first match of the season, had never played the women that she was about to play before. And she goes, oh, yeah, I definitely felt that. But at a certain level, she knows that it's time for her to move on to the next level, because ultimately we don't want to just blow people out of the water. We want that juice, and you get that juice when it's tight. And Mark, you know something about pressure. You have not only played at Wimbledon, but you were in the Army, and that is the greatest pressure. What is your view on pressure itself, and how are these contestants going to be able to navigate it?
It's a great question. So our special forces, in fact our military, would say is that pressure is just a conversation you have with yourself. Pressure is a symptom of an untrained mind. But when we get to Wimbledon, and you just got to walk through the gates to know, even if there's no crowd, you are in the theatre, the cathedral of tennis. It's a very special feeling. And yes, I was lucky to play on the grass courts a month after Wimbledon, year after year, for about 12 years of my military service. And then for a few years more when I know you won't believe this, when I went past 40 and played in the plus 40s. So yeah, and every time just walk through the gates and you step from being, even when you haven't changed, never mind got on court, you step from being Mark Jeffery to, oh my God. So now let's usefully talk about, because this is the domain of Vlado as well, is you walk out on center court with a crowd, with a worldwide audience. It's a 2-week tournament. Every other tournament apart from Grand Slams is 1 week. You're in the locker room and you get into pressure. You get into trauma, particularly, closing out those big points, closing out the match, closing out the sets, breaking. It's all trauma points. How do you cope with it? What do you say to yourself? What's your self-fulfilling prophecy?
It's such a great question. And I think we've all, if we're playing competitive tennis for a while now, we've all been in that situation where maybe a match was seemingly in the bag and we were cruising, and then a couple of bad shots go through and you start to doubt yourself and your opponent starts to pick up steam. And I've had this happen to me a couple of times. And when you end up losing that match, the emotion that you feel, first of all, you don't wish it on anyone because it is a terrible feeling. But that feeling is so strong in that moment that your brain takes a snapshot and it converts it into a long-term memory. And so what we don't realize is that thinking back to that moment, as you recall it, actually produces the same emotions that you were experiencing when you first had it. And so if you've got this memory that's in there, and if you've been playing competitive tennis long enough, you've definitely had this experience. The question is, how can you move through that emotion and not let it change what you think about yourself on the tennis court?
Great little segue into Djokovic. So I watched one of his interviews today, and he said something really interesting, but it's only really interesting if you know the subject matter. And first of all, he's gone unbeaten on grass for 28 matches on the trot. He's got to win 7 on the bounce to win. And what he said was that as a 19-year-old, just breaking into the top 100, came to Wimbledon, had 2 5-setters and got through to the 4th round, had a very good account of himself on center court. And he says that he always has this special feeling, this special energy when he walks out on center court. It's like home to him. So home, tie breaks, big points, Djokovic feels at home, and clearly the self-fulfilling prophecy is that he's going to win, even if he doesn't know how he's going to win, even if his opponent gives it to him. The opponent, on the other hand, might be in trauma world with the brain going, oi, stop this. Let's get off court as soon as possible, man. This hurts.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, if you guys are tuning into this live, we have a Winning Wimbledon community, which is a free group that you can join. I'll probably post a comment down below if I can find where it is, which I will do. And in this group, it's a collection of competitive amateur tennis players that are all in the same boat. We all want to win more matches. We all want to have more fun on the tennis court. And we have some really amazing guests that we're going to be bringing on during the couple of weeks here at Wimbledon. We might just keep this thing going for a while now. So I will post a link to that. It's free to join down below. And we should be having Vlado on here in a second. If you're tuning in late, this is the Winning Wimbledon live show. My partner, Mark Jeffery, and I, we've been doing winning training for a couple of years now, and we're very fortunate to get to work with some amazing people. And so what we want to give you guys over these 2 weeks are some really practical and actionable ways that you can start to train to win those 2 points more than your opponent. And Mark, I'd love to ask you about this because I know there are a lot of players out there that are kind of feeling stuck with, the way that they've been progressing or not progressing in tennis. And you've created something that takes into account what the stats show. And I'd love for you to talk about the stats a little bit and maybe what we're missing in our training.
Very good. What we're missing in the training, first of all, is a separate topic all by itself. And we have Lenny Schloss as our resident Grand Slam genius with Billie Jean King. We have a few interviews with him. So he's going to go into what is the training to produce a Grand Slam winner and what's different about them. But the good news is the stats say you don't have to improve a lot. In fact, you might not have to improve at all. All you're going to do is win a couple more points, but the relevant points. So in terms of stats, if I just asked everybody the question, which is the Djokovic's and Federer's and Nadal's that over the last decade or so have been dominant, right? They've won nearly all the Grand Slams, vast amounts of prize money, the glory and the titles. Hello, Vlado.
Hey, Vlado, how are you?
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi, man. Look, relax, and I'll just finish off the stats, and then we'll come to you. So if I was to ask you, for all this worldwide dominance over a decade or more, what percentage of the points have the greats won over 11 months of the season? What would be your guess? If you're around, put it in the chat box or just write it on a piece of paper. Because the actual answer is around 54.6% of the points. So two conclusions. One is that they've lost 45.4% of the points, something like that. They've lost a lot of points, and they've just won a few points more. So you only need to win 51, 52% of points, and you've won the match. And some of the other stats that we'll get into later this week on winning from the baseline, winning from the net, winning serve and volley is all based on how can we win 2 points more. So the answer, Ramon, is you don't have to get much better. You just need to get a bit more savvy and be like a Grand Slam winner and nut out 2 more points against the Grand Slam loser. With that, Vlado, welcome, man. It's been a few months.
Yes. Hi, guys. Sorry, I was super busy, as you know. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's so exciting to have you, Vlado. Oh, Mark, you want me to?
No.
I'll bring on.
You kick off with the first question.
Okay, great. So for those of you that don't know, Vlado is a Grand Slam development coach, and in a very rare field, because a few people may have taken a player into the top 100 once, but Vlado has done it repeatedly. And we're very fortunate to have him today because he clearly knows something that I think all of us would love to know. So, Vlado, I'd just like to get some background on you. How long did you play on the circuit, on the tour?
Well, I was playing probably like 6 or 7 years. Unfortunately, it was impossible for me because, I was coming from former Czechoslovakia, and even I was like top 10 in the World Juniors. The system here was financially not allowing me to continue my career. And so that's why, I chose to go into the coaching field. And even I was deciding, to go to study or do this job. I told myself that either I can do it successfully or I will quit. So I was getting education, university education, especially for tennis. And also, I had a lot of experience from the previous, let's say, Czech and Slovak education system, because we had one of the best systems in the past. That's why we had so many great champions like Ivan Lendl and Martina Navratilova. and we were really developed not only on the tennis court but also off the tennis court with a lot of theoretical knowledge and so on. Yeah.
Outstanding. And you've played at the Grand Slams before?
Sorry, I kind of low.
Let me just chip in. Vlado, can you hear? Testing 1 2.
Yes, I lost you for a while. Yeah.
Okay. How many years
What was
were
the question?
you away? How many years were you coaching your proteges on the tour?
Well, since the year of 2000, I started, so it's now 23. Almost 24 years now.
Wow.
I started young. I was 24, 25 years old, and I was.
We might have lost Vlado's connection. Well, hopefully he jumps back in here. But
yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh,
yeah,
we hear you.
How many Grand Slams have your proteges been to, and you, for that matter?
Oh my gosh! I mean, probably 80 Grand Slams.
Wow. So that means you've
Maybe
taken
more.
80. You've taken 80 people from relative obscurity, no ranking points, little money in the bank.
No, I'm talking about
top 100.
No, I'm talking about 80 Grand Slams in my life with the players that I coached.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm not saying you've taken 80 players there.
No. I took probably like 5 or 6 players out of 200, 300, 400 to the Grand Slams, or actually 2 of those players I took to top 20 out of like 200, 400s. Yeah.
It's amazing. And so, Vlado, if our theme is sort of, how can we bring some of the secrets that you have, that clearly you're doing this repeatedly, to the sort of average competitive tennis player who's, he's playing USTA league matches? What kind of secrets or insights could you give us that would help people in their quest to become a better and more effective tennis player?
Yeah, well, I heard a little bit of what Mark was saying, that, like with a little bit of more percentage, you are winning the matches. Everybody thinks you have to be 100% better than your opponent or 50% better than your opponent. But I can tell you that only with 5 or 10% being better than your opponent, you are already winning 6-3, 6-3, which is which looks very easy score. So the differences on every level are very, very little. And this is what it is, that, I work privately and I work with one-on-one, which is very difficult, and full dedication to the player. Where I'm trying to teach the young players, mostly I'm taking 16, 17 years old players, good juniors, and I'm trying to teach them that every day, when they are working with a little bit more discipline, a little bit better coaching, where we are trying to work on details, it doesn't matter if it's technical, tactical, or mental. That's where, after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, they are making the 5% difference. And this 5% difference means that they are moving fast up the rankings. There is no 10 or 20 or 30% improvement. It's impossible. But the most important thing is, like I said, that we set some goals in every field, and we work towards this goal, and we are really very, very disciplined about those goals. We don't back up. We stay positive, even, sometimes, of course, you end up losing, but you always have to focus on the improvements that you want to do in your coming weeks, months, and so on, because you need short-term goals and you need long-term goals. For me, the short-term goals are the goals where, for example, when I see that the player has a technical issue on the forehand, and the player is not able to play without this shot, then we have short term to improve this kind of basic stuff. And then the long term can be, for example, transfer to play volleys, or mixing up the rhythm, learning slice, learning more spin, changing the pace, of course. So that's what I mean. Like, first we have to build the base, and when I see problems in the base, that's mean technical stuff, we work on that, and then we move shortly, quickly to some other improvements. Then obviously there is a lot of stuff going on in the head. The kids, or the players who are 16, 17, 18, they are struggling mostly with themselves. But even the top players, you can see many times they're struggling with themselves, and this is what needs to come in. But it's all connected. The tennis, tactics, and the mental, has to be connected, because they need to start to believe in the shot that they were not believing. They need to start into the tactics they were not believing. So it has to. It's a very, how do you call it? Like it's an ant work. It's a micro improvements, and you have to always give them the right advice in the right moment, because sometimes some coaches, they overdo, they give too much information. Some coaches, they don't give enough information, or the information that they give on tennis, they are not able to give them the mental information or the tactical information. So this is what is so difficult, that the coach is trying to see the whole picture and put a little puzzle together.
And then the question is, where do they get the information for the puzzle? Because obviously there's YouTube gurus and local tennis coaches.
Yes, you
so
can
that's
see
a
this on the
difficult
tour.
one.
You cannot imagine how many frustrated players and parents are coming to me, and I heard on many let's say internet talks like we have now. I've heard that from the really good coaches, long term coaches on the tour. I know those guys, they're really 15, 20 years on the tour. They made the development. There is not too many, actually. There is not too many development coaches on the tour, and that's what is the problem. Like you said, there is a lot of gurus. They are good motivators, and so on, but you really don't have too many coaches where you can say, like, this coach developed this player from junior age to top 20, top 10, and the coach is still with the player. Most of the time you can see that especially in the women's tennis, that the girls, they improve to top 20, top 30, top 10, and suddenly they are firing their coaches. So this is the game where, obviously, I'm sorry to say that, but there is more money coming, and then there is more people coming also involved who are trying to get the advantage. And I was called from the Italian press, I was called cotton coach, and I was like, what do you mean? Why are you calling me cotton coach? And the journalist told me, like, like, you take cotton, you make a t-shirt, and somebody else wears it after. So
oh wow.
This is absolutely the hard part of my job, because I really enjoy to work with a lot of talented players that I used to work. But this is the sad part of that I really got fired when the player got to top 20 or so, and after 3 years working through the small tournaments, really suffering, because obviously when you get to the higher ranking, the life is changing for everybody. It's a little bit more comfort, a little bit better planning. When you are 400 in the world, it's very difficult to plan, because you don't know which tournament you're going to get in, and so on and so on. You are struggling with the money, you are struggling with everything. And this is the sad part of tennis, that I see this. Many coaches, they didn't make it. I know a few coaches that really, they did the work, they improved the players to top 20, top 10, they got fired, and now they really have problems, psychological problems, because you give up so much. You go through really hard times, and then kind of your whole life work, maybe 5 years, 10 years work is gone, and you have to start from zero. Those kids, those players, those families, when you put them to top 20 in the world, they are ending up already with 4, 5, 6 million, and also good enough knowledge for a couple of years to still stay top 100 or better. So, you create for them a very, very good base and very good situation in their lives, and then you get dumped like, it's not very nice.
Vlado,
Wow.
Mark told me, and by the way, if you guys are tuning in to Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, we have a free community. It's called Winning Wimbledon Live, and we're going to be bringing on expert guests like Vlado, like Lenny Schloss, who is Billie Jean King's front-hand man, and we're going to be doing a lot of training on how you can take some of the secrets that Vladimir is talking about and apply it into your game. So, Vlado, you just took on an American player, and Mark's telling me about this young lady. Tell us a little bit about her, and are we going to see her at the U.S. Open?
Oh well, I don't want to say this, but I'm pretty happy with the situation now, because it's a very nice girl, very humble. She's working hard. She has great potential, but I have seen a lot of potential in a lot of players, never made it. So it's all about how hard she can work, how she can go through the whole tough part of tennis, traveling and being away from home and fighting every week. So for now, she did well. We are working since like 5 months now, and the last 2 months they were very successful. She moved from like 275 to number 168 now, I think.
Wow.
So definitely she will be in the qualis of US Open. We are going to play some more tournaments now in Europe, and then slowly move to the hard courts in the US. I don't think we have enough time probably to make the main draw. It would be a miracle, but obviously she did more than 110 spots in a couple of months now. The first months were difficult. She was struggling with technique, with tactics, mentally, physically. So we are building slowly, but not slowly. Actually, she did one of the biggest improvements on the tour. Not too many players improved from 270 to 160 in a couple of months. So this is pretty good. But yes, definitely the qualities of US Open, and it all depends on the USTA, because if she maybe makes some good results now in the coming weeks, maybe she will be awarded the wild card for main draw.
Wow.
Because she's American. Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's a
exciting.
possibility. So when you're the coach of her in the US Open, don't discard the humble Ramones and Mark Jeffries. Would love to interview you at the US Open. That'll be fabulous.
Yes,
I
would
thank
be
you,
glad
man. What's your insight? What's your pick of the ladies' draw at Wimbledon?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. As you know, that Swiatek is playing really good. Of course, she's the favorite of most on most of the tournaments. So I would go with Swiatek, or Rybakina. She was not feeling very well since Roland Garros, but obviously she is also potentially dangerous on grass, big server.
Do you have a wild card,
Sabalenka,
dark horse?
I like Sabalenka, but this will depend how she can control her mental stage. So yeah, I mean, in women tennis everything is possible nowadays, and but these 3 or 4 players are favorite.
Great. Ramon, I've got one last question actually, and bearing in mind this is really for our viewers who are competitive amateur tennis players, that form will vary probably quite wildly. Emma Raducanu, so not necessarily the person, just the activity. So she won the US Open, and if that's the only thing she does in life, I think everybody would go, I trade that. I win the US Open, thank you. She's obviously dropped off since then and has got injuries and operations. From the insight of a tennis player, how do you come back from operations, injuries to capture your best form?
Well, I was pretty close to Raducanu family, and I cannot say that I don't like something. They're really trying. It's very hard position for the girl. She's young. Obviously, there is, like I said, there is 1 million friends now, and 1 million coaches, and 1 million people giving advice. So it's very difficult to choose the right thing for her. Obviously, with the injuries, I think probably because of trying so hard, she was overdoing stuff, and this is important that somebody can get this under control, somebody who is experienced. And so she needs a coach who is experienced, who will load the practice session the right way, the fitness session the right way, who will, I have a problem with her forehand. She's playing too many open forehands. She needs to, be more stable. She's jumping and twisting on her forehand. She needs to be more close stance forehand, and she needs to be more stable on her legs, So this is something that I would try to improve. And obviously, like, it's very difficult to not read and not be under pressure. She's trying to, but maybe she shouldn't try to be under pressure. She should just take it as it is and just do her own thing. But obviously, she needs somebody good to direct her, and she needs to listen. She needs to go the right way. Yeah.
Well, Vlado,
just listening to you.
Mhm.
Sorry, Ramon, you crack on.
I was just wanted to thank you so much, Vlado, for coming on and sharing your insights and your stories with us. Guys, we are going to be doing this live every day over the next 2 weeks, bringing on special guests like Vlado and really get you some great training on how you can win more of these tight matches. And tomorrow, Mark and I are going to be talking about the men's draw. We're going to be getting into pressure, the juice, and how you guys can start going through these processes in a match that we all experience. Doesn't matter if you're a professional player or if you're a USTA 3.0 player, weekend warrior, you are going to be dealing with pressure. And so one of the things Mark and I love talking about and bringing on special guests like Vlado, who have been doing this at such a high level for so long, is we get to get into these topics with you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Vlado, thank you again for coming on. Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you guys doing this. It's so nice for the tennis community. And if you want to talk to me in the next days, I will be glad to do it again.
Oh,
awesome.
Vlado, big heart. Thank you.
No problem, guys. Nice talking to you. All the best.
Nice talking to you, Vlado. Mark, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Same time, same bat channel.
Bye.